Hi everyone, this is Rosemarie from the Unfinished Lesson, and this is another quick win series. We've been looking at how to make practice fun, and we've taken a different approach to it, that's for sure, because it's not just about the activities that we choose. There's actually a lot of things that we do behind the scenes that make practice fun during the week. I'm going to include links in the description below on our first two videos. Okay, in the first video, I talk about the client experience because, to be honest, it's our clients, the parents and the students that are really the ones that are dealing with practice. In the second video, I talk about a few different options that you can use in terms of providing resources for your clients and for your students. In video number 3 here, we're going to take a look at online lessons. Now, all of the lessons I've covered so far, they're going to work for both in-person and online. If you don't know my background, I am an online piano teacher. However, I used to be a traveling piano teacher, and before that, I was an in-classroom school teacher. So I know what it's like being able to just grab your resources right there, ready for you, and you're in person with your student. What it's like when you have your resources and your student in totally different spots, and then also being online. So I want to make sure that whenever I'm giving you tips and tricks, that it doesn't matter what your situation is. I know lots of teachers, they kind of flow between those. You know, it can be a hybrid approach. And so let's make sure that whatever tips I give you, they're going to work with whatever situation you've got going on. Fair enough? Okay. So with online, one of the things that is a little bit different is how do you get these resources to your clients? If it's digital, we can use online storage, whatever form that may take, and it makes it a little easier. But what about physical resources? Now, this could be everything from the binder system I was telling you about in the previous video. It could be music books. It can be music, sheet music that you can't share digitally, and you do need to check usage rights and copyright rules in terms of the individual sheet music that you can share. Publishers have different rules, so just make sure you follow that. And so for online, it does have a little bit of how do I handle this? Now, my first year teaching online, it was actually all my students that I'd had before. So I didn't worry about shipping anything because if I needed to drop something off, they all lived within 15 minutes of me. I could do a porch drop off. It wasn't a big deal. But now that I'm teaching online and I have other students, I can't exactly drive hours each way in order to drop something off. Like, that's just not reasonable. So I had to rethink that this year. And you will need to think about this in terms of your situation. So there's a few things that I want you to consider when it comes to physical resources. One, are you going to stay just digital, or are you going to provide any physical resources? Two, if there is any sort of physical resources, and yes, even having a binder for the student and a practice pouch, that counts as a physical resource. Are you going to have parents purchase them, or will you ship that to them? So that's question 2. Question 3, if you decide to ship it, you need, what considerations are the most important to you? Okay, so you need to balance the cost of shipping versus retaining a reasonable profit. When you're teaching online, there are certain expenses that, of course, decrease the overall profit that you will have from each student. Just like as a travel teacher, there were certain costs that I no longer have as an online teacher that I had to factor into the tuition. Now, for me, it actually worked out pretty much as a wash between travel teaching and online teaching as to how much I was spending. So it wasn't a big change. But if you've gone from in-person to online, then yeah, you need to look at those expenses. When you're looking at the cost of shipping and how long it'll take to get to your students, you know, is it worth it? Is it? Yeah, it would be really great if I could just send everything to them, but it's going to cost me so much money that my profit is basically gone. Well, then it might be that you're going to choose things that it's really easy and inexpensive for parents to purchase for their kids. Now, there are a few things that you can do to make this a bit easier. Like I said, making sure it's inexpensive and easy to get. So there is an advantage that if you tend to use more household items when it comes to practice resources, then all of a sudden that's a lot easier. If you're choosing to ship things, you can go to the dollar store, which I actually did this year. I decided to send surprise boxes to my students, and I went to the dollar store. I mean, it cost me more to ship the boxes than anything I put in the boxes. So I was able to keep the cost of them down, but the fun factor of them high. If you're having parents purchase them, again, by choosing common items that will be easy for them to get, something that either they could go to the dollar store, or if it's something that they could get at, say, the grocery store when they go out, it makes it more likely that they're not going to push back at it, right? They're going to maybe the first time go like, okay, just say, look, we're going to have a lot of fun. Can you please pick this up for me or for your child? And then when they see how fun it is and that you made it easy for them and inexpensive, all of a sudden, the next time that you want them to purchase a household object, whether it's plastic cups, whether it's, I don't know, sidewalk chalk, whatever it may be, all of a sudden, okay, yeah, that's not a big deal, right? I can do that easily. I don't have to go around to a different store. As a parent, I can tell you just how much I appreciate it when the school or when extracurricular activities just make it easy for us so that we can actually have downtime. We can have some balance as a family. We're not the only ones that are busy. They are too. So let's make it easy for them, even when we're online. If you choose to send materials to your students, you don't have to send something every month, or it doesn't have to be in the same format. So I sent a surprise box to my students. Now, because of the objects that I put in the box, the shipping was more expensive. It was still fairly reasonable, but yeah, I mean, it was a little more expensive than if I had just put things in an envelope. Now, what you could do is maybe you could decide, okay, I really want to send something special to start off the term, but then maybe the next month, that music that you had that you had studio licenses for, but you're not allowed to share it digitally. You can print off the song, and just like you would have if it was in-person lessons, you can hole punch it, put it in an envelope, send it to your student. You're making use of resources you already have. It's great for your student, and the shipping will be less expensive. And then, yeah, sometimes you could just send something that's a little bit bigger. So there's a few options there, whether you want them to take care of everything. Maybe you want it to be, sometimes they take care of some stuff, you take care of it other times, whatever it may be. All right, so what I would like you to do before you go on with the rest of your day, I know this one's a bit of a shorter video. I just actually want you to figure out, do you want to stick with only, or do you want to stay with only digital resources? Or do you want to add some physical resources as well for practice, right? So are we doing just practice pages and maybe like backing tracks and things like that, that can be in online storage? Or do we want to add some of the things that we normally would have used in person as well? And if so, is it parents buying those? Is it you buying those? Okay. That's all you have to do today. You don't have to make a big long list of things to buy. Don't worry about it. It's all good. All right. I hope you have an incredible day. And I hope that I get to find out what are some of the things that you might be sending your students. Let me know in the comments below, okay? I'll see you in the next video.